And this session will be recorded, so I just want to give you guys a heads up. Let me quickly introduce myself, and also let Coach Asha introduce herself. My name is Wei. Students call me Mr. Wei. I am an educational consultant. Is a co-founder for QD Learning. This is our 8th year, almost 8th year to run our business. And my partner in crime, Mr. David, is on the line as well. So yes, okay. So great to see you guys on Friday night. And I want to have Coach Asha maybe quickly introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Coach Asha. I'm a coach. I'm also in charge of program director for speech and debate programs. So the curriculum we're going to be seeing today is one that was created in collaboration with some of our other leads as well, in order to give all of you guys an opportunity to practice communication in a different style that is from our regular competitive track, which we'll be discussing today. So I look forward to going through this and answering any questions you guys have.
Awesome. Okay. So Coach Asha is actually one of the team leads, and besides just coaching students, and she does a lot of the curriculum development and also coaching the competitive team, right? So just a heads up, we actually tomorrow, speaking of the competition, we will have another info session talking about the upcoming Harvard tournament. And also as a counselor, I'm super excited about the college trip we will be making next President's Weekend as well. If you're interested, let us know. We'll share the link with you at the end. So today's, as Coach Asha mentioned, we're going to be focusing on this new track called Art of Communication. And I'm going to set up the background and have Coach Asha to dig into the details, right? And the whole thing probably not going to take more than 15, 20 minutes. And so for students and parents, if you have questions, let us know. We want to tailor that to you a little bit. But you know, at the same time, it's going to be recorded. If anything you miss, you can always watch it again. But as a way to set this up, this is our Rome, we call pathways, right? So on the, hopefully this is not new to you, especially for those who have taken classes with us. But if you are new, it's very easy to digest this. On the left-hand side is actually our competitive track, right? Anybody wants to compete in speech and debate, different categories, and you can really, this is your pathway. Okay, starts with Art of Public Speaking, or AOPS. And hopefully a lot of students who have taken it has already gone through this and moving on into those different tracks, right? So, but we, on the right-hand side, the purple colored one are actually the new track we are adding or establishing. But this is not new to us, right? We have experiment different summer workshops and different things here and there, but it was not systemized. It was not assetized like this. So I think starting from next spring, this will be part of the core curriculum. And that I think will fit a subset of the student needs perfectly well. So we'll kind of share what type of target audience we want the you know, the students to start taking those classes. But in general, high level, it's really non-competitive. We want to focus on building skill sets and starting from the art of the communication course, right? And moving on and into either scenario-based or different settings, and you can learn all kinds of communication and collaboration related skill set building, kind of knowledge base, right? So, and we also have the leadership club on top of it, because that's really the application layer. And in the end, really our goal is to build the students who are well-rounded in a lot of the key, has the critical skill set already, right? So they can get college and career ready. Okay. So I'm gonna have Coach Asha to dig in and go ahead to go through why we need this.
So yes, thank you. So one of the things that we wanted to address with this new course is giving our students just like the same base level foundation that we give in art of public speaking, but geared towards more real world, not just career, but college, high school readiness and beyond. So the importance of communication skills in academics. So soft skills are the personal qualities and attributes that help students succeed in the classroom and workplace are crucial in students' college and career readiness. These skills include building things like, go to next, professionalism. So when we look at students who go out into whether it is a job interview, college interview, or even just going into high school, it is really important that students, recognize that there is a way that you carry yourself. There's a way that you interact with the world around you that is going to form the base of people's opinion of you. So you want to carry yourself in a very professional and being able to communicate that professionalism. Next is collaboration. One of the things that a lot of students will start to have more and more of, I've talked to some of my students, is they have group projects, which everyone knows and loves. And these are really preparing them for work life and beyond, but they need to learn how to communicate professionally, how to communicate in a group and collaborate on these projects together. The next one is problem solving, being able to use your communication skills to problem solve maybe a conflict resolution between whether you're doing your group project or something is a really important skill. Next one is responsibility. This is really key, especially as students are getting older, going into high school, having to, again, whether it's manage a group project, take on a leadership role in a group project, they are responsible to show up and to communicate effectively with their group in terms of whether that's in an interview skill setting, whether that is in like a group setting, whatever that setting may be, this is a really important soft skill. And finally, respect. We all, as we get older, learn that different people have different ideas, different ideals, and that's okay. But what this is important is to learn how to respectfully communicate, how to respect each other's opinions and values, despite any differences you might have. So these are really core skills as they go into high school, college, and beyond.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna talk about this one. My favorite. This is actually hot off the press. This is something I received it today. Although a lot of the things we probably kind of know, but it's so nice to see the latest survey. This is done by a platform called Coursera. For those of you who have taken MOOC, those massive online courses, this might be a name you kind of know. A lot of students, especially college or graduate student, they start taking courses from this just to get some certification. And it's not uncommon for high school students to take classes over there. That's just a quick plugging on that platform, how popular that platform is. So they have released this called the Job Skills of 2023. And the way they separate is the digital skills, which I call on the technical side, right? What's important. And also you have the human skills, and that's really linked to our course super well. Those are the softer skills and things you need to have in order to make things happen, right? If you go down the list, the fast growing human skills, and I highlighted a couple of them. It's all related to communication, like storytelling, right? Influencing, how do you persuade people? And culture is really how you interact with your colleague and other people. Or being a manager, how do you work with your subordinates, right? Then communication, obviously, that's the key, the foundational layer, right? So if you look at this is why we think competitive speech and debate is great, right? But the missing link is how do we take those skills and apply that for them to be college and career ready so they can actually use those skill sets, really make a difference, be a leader at their workplace or whatever initiative they're trying to lead. Okay.
Okay, so perfect transition into how this course is different, right? So we talked about our competitive track, and for those of you who have been with us, you may be familiar with the fact that our competitive track prepares them to go to tournaments, competitions, and excel. Well, this is specifically going to be looking at basic communication processes like nonverbal communication, perception, listening skills, as well as communication in varied contexts. This course prepares students for non-competitive practical communication, as we've discussed so far. So some of the things that will be in this course are listening and feedback. One of the things that we see a lot of times with students is, especially as they get older into high school, is are they really listening? Well, this really teaches them how to actively listen and take and give good feedback, constructive feedback. Next is how to decrease speech anxiety, especially as students get older, they're more likely to start developing this sort of fear of public speaking. This is one of the things that is really going to be key in them being able to move forward along their career paths, is being able to decrease that anxiety, channel that anxiety so they can be effective communicators. Next, conflict resolution. This applies across the board. They need to be able to understand that when you're working with different people, you're going to have moments where there might be tension. How do you navigate that? How do you get through that? So this is one of the key skills. Next is intro to networking, especially as we have our rising high schoolers, even going into college. It is never too early. This is a skill I can personally say I wish I had learned when I was younger, because it is so important, especially if you're an introvert like I am. It is really important to know how to talk to people, how to network, how to build a network that can be beneficial. And we talk about going on, not even just college, but even into your career. Next is argumentation and rhetoric. We talked about that critical thinking is a key skill set. This is exactly why in our course we've built in a part of not just argumentation and rhetoric, but this idea of persuasion. How do you persuade an audience? How do you persuade, someone if you're doing an interview? And then obviously interview skills. So it is really important that our students know how to navigate different interview skills. Here at QD, we've had some students who have applied to very rigorous high school programs that require interviews. And it's one of the things that comes up time and time again is these students want to prepare for these interviews or for college interviews. And so this is what things we're building into the course so that they can learn these ahead of those big moments. Presentation skills, again, like I said, as our students start to move up into high school, they're going to be faced with more and more presentations. And the difference between an A and, well, whatever comes below A, I don't actually know what those numbers or letters are, but whatever comes below that, that can be the difference in a good presentation versus a presentation that won't get that A.
Oh, let me add a couple comments. I know we wanted to set that vision to get you a career ready, right? At the same time, if you look at those skills, right, just being a college counselor, I would say those are super practical skills you need to master quickly, right? Ideally before the senior year. Look at the interview skills. College, a lot of selective colleges, they might have the interviews you have to do, right? If this is your first time going in, it will be really nerve-wracking. And we all know, if you can sell yourself, you can make your skill sets and your story stand out, that will be making a huge difference to your application, right? Then intro to networking, it's the same thing. For those competitive high schoolers, we're talking about, research, we're talking about internship. Those are not the regular things as a high schooler know how to do, right? So that for sure will require you to connect with people and know how to network and talk to strangers to make things happen. So with this type of training early on, you know what? You're not afraid of reaching out, right?
So that brings us perfectly into how this program is going to be structured. Really so important in this course is, yes, there will be some lecture, but this is going to be using an applied teaching methodology. What that basically means is every module that is in this course is going to have some sort of applied component so that the students are actively practicing these skills in real time. It's not just, oh, practice, learn a speech. No, they are going to have to navigate some very interesting projects and actively use these skills. So they're going to be practicing real world deliverables. So like I said, one of the projects we have is not just teaching them interview skills, but then they're going to actually be tested with an interview. So that's going to be something that they'll be able to say, I actually now know how to navigate going through an interview process. The next one is, so like I said, every module will have a project built in, like everyone, even speech anxiety, they have a project they have to do that has to do with projection and saying no and then saying yes skills. So like literally every module we have in this course is going to have project. Now, not to be overwhelming, these projects for the most part will be done in class, but the whole goal is, again, applied learning. And finally, the final finale of this course, one of the things we're really excited. So as some of you may be aware, we have a very robust competitive team. And so we often host and go to tournaments. But one of the things we want to give our students in this track is the opportunity to actually showcase what they have learned. So the final project in the course will be a project showcase where they will give a presentation so that everyone can see everything that they've learned in real time. So we're very excited about this opportunity that we're bringing for our non-competitive students to still show their skills, even though it's not going to be the same competitive level as our competitive track students.
Awesome. Okay. One thing I want to add is I think it's the way you look at this, right? It's very practical, experiential learning, hands-on, project-based learning. This is what the real world needs, right? If you look at any project outside, it's always requires teamwork, collaboration, always requires the deliverable, some type of demo day, right? And some type of showcase. So this is really put the students into that driver's seat and get them sort of practice that muscle early on, right? And it will make a huge boost when they actually do that for a real scenario. It could be, I don't know, it could be a business competition, possibly. It could be a pitch. Like I have students is doing a stop pitch, right? They have to put a slide deck together and pitch it to a panel of judges. If you don't have practice like this, it will be, you feel like a little bit underprepared oftentimes. Okay. And as I mentioned, this probably is the record info session we have done. And hopefully we build a case why we want to do this, right? And this will be sort of the new cohort to try this program. So if you're interested, this is for middle schoolers. If we have some high schoolers, we'll welcome them too. And mixed grades in presentation or showcase, it's not a problem at all. And we have an in-person class will be scheduled next spring in Anaheim on Friday. Then the other one is online. So if the schedule, you can really pick whatever or location that's convenient for you. And this is the link for the enrollment. And I'm gonna pause and see if anyone has any questions.
I did want to add, while we're waiting, see if anyone
Yeah,
has any questions.
sure.
I just want to leave with one last note as well, is that what I love about this course is that for students and parents, you'll be able to see an immediate return on investment, because these are things they're doing in everyday life, and we're going to give them the effective tools in their toolkit to do them to the best of their ability, to do them better, to excel in them. And so that's what I love about this course, is with competitive, which I love, I competed, I think it's really great. With competing, you have to wait to see that return. You have to build up, your level in working your way from novice to intermediate to open level competition, and even maybe joining our junior varsity team. It sometimes takes a little bit longer, right? But with this one, you're already going to immediately see right after taking class, during the class, you're going to see these deliverables in action. And that's what I'm so excited about with this course. And even when I was working on building this course, is that you can actually be able to track students, progress. And then not even that, but looking toward the future, as we described, the next steps for them. We're really trying to build them up in terms of skills they can take through their lives that are completely applicable to so many different scenarios. So I just wanted to say that is that I'm excited to have worked on this course, and I'm excited to teach this course, and I'm hopefully you guys are excited to join this course because we have a lot of fun things in store.
Awesome. So I do want to throw some possible questions out of there too. Parents might be asking. So okay, so you wanted to. I only know my kid want to do possibly need some speech and debate training because they are shy, right? And so how do you determine which track to start with, right? So my rule of thumb is if they are young meaning elementary or middle school, start with them on the AOPS side, art of public speaking. So you never know. And because competitive track takes time to build the skills versus the art of communication, it's more modular, right? It does take time too, but like Coach Asha mentioned, you have some immediate returns. So I would say still start with AOPS if your student is young, and see if they like the competitiveness of this, because it's a wonderful world if you like to compete, right? And then later on they say, you know what, they have tried so many times, couple seasons, they feel like they've got burned out. All their extracurricular has a different focus. Maybe they're doing more on sports, right? Maybe they're doing other stuff, other academics, and there's just not enough time, right? Then you can pick and choose, say, okay, what if let me be a little bit more focused, maybe go ahead, I want to polish my interview skills because I'm a sophomore. I want to get ready for my junior year, possibly just interview and also even networking to find additional internship opportunities, right? Let me refocus on this AOC, then get you ready into that mindset, and so you won't be nervous going in, okay? Or the other scenario is if the student is already kind of like 7 or 8, they know, for sure, everybody knows your kids like personality wise, right? What are the things, the boundaries or whatever, right? The buttons to push. Maybe competitive speech and debate is not their forte. Then in that case, put them into AOC first. And if they like it, they build the interest, they can always cross over to the competitive side. Or you can even do it in parallel. So that's why it's super, super flexible. It's an open type of curriculum, to be honest, right? And also one thing I want to add is this is going to be based on a lot of the graduate level communication courses that we have, Coach Asha and also Coach Shante, she's a college professor. So there are a lot of, and plus Coach Anna. And we have a lot of brain power. We want to bring really what's relevant and what is the rigorous courses we want to put through for the students to get ready. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, one anecdote. I personally subscribe to a lot of like business coaching and communication. And 2 days ago, I was looking at one of the business coach, right? And he said he's going to start a communication course in January. Then when I look at it, the list, gosh, isn't that what we are doing for our middle schoolers? So essentially like is effective listening, guess what? This is an iterative process, right? And we all need, the world is changing too. It's just how do you deal with different generations? So you want to pick up those skill sets early on, at least you have that baseline. And next time you just need to kind of build on top of it, right? Rather than if you start from scratch. That's my personal experience. When you're in the workplace, it could be switch could be like this. Because I remember I was a consultant when I started working in the software industry. That was my previous job. And my boss essentially threw me into, hey, wait, go ahead, teach a class on this, right? So that was really nerve-wracking. I had to teach 40 adults on using the platform, which I wasn't properly trained, to be honest, right? So if you have that skill, the communication skills, at least you are not afraid. You know what? I'm gonna take it slowly. At least I'm super confident on how I can communicate, right? So, okay, all right. Let's see. Let's wait one more minute. If nobody has any question, we can wrap this up. We'll be posting the recording as well. Super short, convenient. Hopefully this is clear why we are doing this. I'm super excited. This is something we wanted to do in a long time, actually. The other day, I was training one of my seniors, to prepare for the Duke interview. Gosh, it's so hard. But so hard because he never had any training on this, right? And so I have to kind of essentially have to script everything for him, then have him to do the rehearsal. Then we do mock interview. I had another college counselor to do the mock interview. So it just feels like take more than we should. But at the same time, if you haven't done that training, it is kind of difficult, right? So. Oh, Coach Asha, you're muted.
Oh yeah, I was going to add on that we've had quite a few students who like at the last minute will have an interview for something and then they
Boarding
need
school,
help.
boarding
Yeah.
school, yes.
And it
Yeah.
adds an extra additional level of stress, especially if they come to us with no training. Yes, we can do our best to, prepare them, but there's only so much you can do in a limited amount of time. So I definitely agree with you. It is so much easier if they already have that foundation to build upon versus if we have to start from scratch and we have like 3 weeks. That's very nerve-wracking.
Yep.
As a coach, I can say on the coaching side, I'm like, oh no, okay, well, we're going to focus on what we can change. And I think, what is it? They say it takes 3 weeks, 21 days for a habit to form. So it's like better to build this muscle memory now versus waiting till those big interviews or projects come up and then it's panic mode.
Cool. I think let's go ahead to wrap this up. Thank you so much. We'll be posting the recording afterwards. Thanks for joining us on a Friday night. And I wish everybody have a fantastic holiday season. We're all excited heading into the break. And once the break is over, we're going to launch this. Okay. All right.